12 countries are rationing fuel right now, and Americans haven't got the briefing yet. The IEA says they need a 400 million barrel emergency release just to stabilize the supply. The same market sets the price at every gas station in the country. Watch this video before things get crazy.
The IEA has been tracking global energy disruptions since 1974. Every embargo, every war, every supply shock in the modern era. In April 2026, they used language they've never used before. They called this the greatest global energy security challenge in the agency's history, the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. They didn't say that about 1973. They didn't say that about the Gulf War. They didn't say that about Russia-Ukraine. They said it about right now. A ceasefire doesn't change that designation. A peace field doesn't rebuild what's already been destroyed. The damage is done. It's operating on a construction timeline now, not a diplomatic one. The question isn't when the war ends. The question is what the damage means for American consumers regardless of when it ends, and how long the price stays elevated after the headlines move on. There's an economist named James Hamilton who spent his career studying one relationship: oil prices and recessions. 50 years of data, every major oil price spike since 1948. His finding is simple and it's devastating. 11 out of 12 major oil shocks preceded a US recession. The single exception was a minor spike tied to Venezuelan unrest in 2003. Every other one, every single one, recession followed. Here's the part that doesn't make intuitive sense. Oil is only about 4% of US GDP, 4%. That should mean a price spike causes a 4% problem. It doesn't. The GDP damage runs 5 to 10 times larger than that share. Hamilton's data shows declines relative to trend exceeding 4 full percentage points of GDP. From a 4% input, the reason is the demand side. When gas gets expensive, you don't stop buying gas. You can't. You drive to work, you heat your house, you don't have a choice. So you keep buying energy at the higher price and you cut everything else. Cars first, then discretionary spending, then durable goods, then services. That's the transmission mechanism. That's the sequence that's preceded almost every recession in the post-war era. And that sequence just started. If you're watching this and you've already noticed your spending shifting more on gas, less on everything else, you're not imagining it. You're inside Hamilton's pattern. It's running on schedule. Now, 3 wars, 3 energy shocks, 3 completely different recovery timelines. And each one proves the same thing from a different angle. August 1990, Iraq invades Kuwait. Oil doubles overnight, $17 a barrel to $36. America enters a mild recession. 9 months later, it's over. Oil falls back, the economy recovers. That's the version most people remember, the short one, the clean one. But here's why it was short. The infrastructure wasn't destroyed. Coalition forces pushed Iraq back. Kuwait's oil fields came online again. The physical supply returned to the market. The pipes were intact. The terminals were intact. The refineries were intact. When supply came back, the price came back. Hold that in your mind, because it's the opposite of what's happening right now.
Hey, real quick, if you've liked this video so far and you want to know how to make videos like this quickly and easily, I've got something you're going to love. I built a course that teaches you exactly how to grow a faceless YouTube channel in just a few hours a week, how to monetize it, how to gain consistent followers, and how to do all of it without any guesswork. Even if you've got 0 video experience, this is your opportunity to build real passive income from YouTube using AI tools that does the heavy lifting for you. Everything you need is in the link below. So now let's get back to the video.
1990 is what fast looks like. It's what recovery looks like when nothing permanent breaks. Now, February 1991, the ceasefire is signed. The Gulf War is officially over. Diplomats shake hands. The world exhales. And 700 oil wells in Kuwait are on fire. Saddam's forces set them on fire on the way out. 700 wells. Exposed crude burning into the sky. The ceasefire didn't put them out. The peace agreement didn't put them out. Teams of engineers from 10 countries put them out. one well at a time over 9 months. Sway. The oil market didn't care about the handshake. It cared about the fire. The diplomatic timeline and the supply timeline were completely disconnected from each other. 9 months of active firefighting after the war was officially over. The price didn't normalize until the last well went out in November. Not when the ceasefire was signed in February, November. That disconnect between when a war ends on paper and when it ends in the physical economy is the entire point of this video. Now, February 2022, Russia invades Ukraine. European natural gas prices spike 400% in a matter of months. Governments scramble. Germany, the largest economy in Europe, announces an emergency energy policy reversal overnight. Countries that spent 2 decades building pipelines to Russia start dismantling the relationships in weeks. That was 4 years ago. Here's where Europe is today. Household energy prices across EU capitals are still 38% above pre-invasion levels. Not 5%, not 10, 38. 4 years later. Germany's industrial base permanently restructured around higher energy costs. Factories that ran on cheap Russian gas either moved, closed, or absorbed margins that'll never come back. The energy shock ended. The structural damage didn't. This is what happens when infrastructure gets hit and supply chains rewire around the damage. The economy doesn't snap back to the old price. It builds a new floor. And the new floor becomes the price. 3 parallels, 3 different recovery speeds. 1990 recovered in 9 months because nothing permanent broke. Kuwait's fires took 9 months after the ceasefire because physical damage doesn't respond to diplomacy. Russia-Ukraine is 4 years in, and the price floor hasn't returned to pre-war levels because structural rewiring is permanent. Now look at 2026. 40 damaged energy assets across 9 countries. Qatar's LNG terminals. Critical infrastructure for global natural gas supply on a 3 to 5 year repair timeline. Karg Island, Iran's primary oil export hub, struck by American forces the night before the ceasefire was announced. 133 million barrels of cumulative lost production since February. 12 countries actively rationing fuel right now. The IEA calling for a 400 million barrel emergency release just to stabilize supply. In 1990, the infrastructure was intact. In Kuwait, 700 wells burned. In 2022, one theater of war disrupted one set of pipelines. In 2026, it's 9 countries, 40 facilities, 3 to 5 years of reconstruction on the conservative estimate. The scale doesn't have a modern parallel. Here's what's happening right now in real time. The Hamilton sequence. Oil spiked. Gas prices followed within days. Consumer spending is compressing. Auto sales are declining month over month. Discretionary purchases dropping. People are keeping the lights on and cutting everything else. Exactly the way Hamilton's model predicts. The Amazon fuel surcharge that hit April 17th. The diesel spike to $5.38. Every carrier in America, UPS, FedEx, USPS, Amazon, repricing simultaneously for the first time in the platform era. Those aren't random events happening at the same time by coincidence. They're the demand-side transmission mechanism, the same mechanism that's preceded 11 of 12 post-war recessions, running in the same order on the same timeline. 9 months from spike to contraction. That's the historical average. Nobody on financial television is connecting these dots in sequence. They're covering each one as a separate story. The gas price story, the Amazon story, the grocery story, the auto sales story. They're not separate stories. They're one story, Hamilton's story, playing out in the same order it always plays out. And it's about halfway through the transmission. A ceasefire fixes some of this. The Strait of Hormuz reopens, tanker traffic resumes, crude futures drop on the headline. That's real. That's what a ceasefire does. Here's what it doesn't do. It doesn't rebuild Qatar's LNG terminals. It doesn't repair Karg Island. It doesn't restore 40 damaged facilities across 9 countries. It doesn't undisrupt 3 to 6 months of lost production. It doesn't reverse the supply chain rewiring that's already underway. Manufacturers and logistics companies don't wait for peace deals. They reroute. They find new suppliers. They sign new contracts. Daniel Yergin spent 3 books and a Pulitzer Prize documenting one principle. Recovery timelines are engineering timelines, not political ones. The relief people feel on ceasefire day is the gap between what they think ended and what actually ended. In Kuwait, that gap was 9 months of burning wells. In Europe, that gap is 4 years and counting. In 2026, with 9 countries of infrastructure damage and a 3 to 5 year reconstruction estimate, that gap could be the rest of the decade. Every war in this list eventually ended. The Gulf War ended. The fires kept burning. Russia-Ukraine reached a stalemate. The prices kept climbing. Every ceasefire brought a headline. Every headline brought relief. And every time, every single time, the physical economy operated on its own schedule. Not the diplomatic one, not the political one, the engineering one. The 2026 damage is on a construction schedule now. Cranes and welders and concrete and years. The war can stop tomorrow. Your gas price can't.